I want you to pretend that you're 85, or however old you are lucky to live until. Imagine yourself sitting on your deathbed with your life behind you. Do you want to feel regret for the things that you didn't do? Do you want to feel like you've wasted your life away trying to please others instead of being true to yourself? I know I don't. I want to be able to sit there and be proud of the things that I've accomplished, the people I've come to know, the relationships I've built, the memories I've made. I want to accept when my time comes, knowing that I've lived a fulfilled life and not leaving this world with any regrets. If you're anything like me, this might sound nice and all, but you'll probably be sat there thinking, Dalen, this sounds great, but how do I actually get to the point where I'm able to do what I want and accomplish what I've set out to do with this life, or even figure out what I'm meant to be doing? I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have all the answers, but I can share what has helped me start the process for myself. The first step in living a meaningful life worthy of living isn't waking up at 4 a.m. and running 15 miles every single day. It isn't even becoming so rich that you can throw your money at all your problems either. The first step is figuring out what a meaningful life looks like for you. This may sound easy, like you'd be able to do it in an afternoon by sitting down and writing out all your hopes and aspirations, but I found this wasn't the case for me, and most likely won't be the case for many of you either. I'm still finding my own way to discover my meaning and purpose here, but I've found that I've come to learn more about myself and learn what is meaningful to me when I'm pushing myself to do hard things. I've found that when I'm doing something hard, whether that be an activity that pushes me to my physical limits, putting myself outside my comfort zone in situations, or being in unfamiliar places, I almost seem to unlock glimpses of what a life well lived looks like. It's like finding puzzle pieces that don't quite make sense yet. It's almost as if the pieces are still white, but have their shape. The color starts to fill in on these pieces with more time. As I alluded to earlier, I unlock more of the puzzle when I'm doing harder things. This isn't common for many of us anymore. The exponential rise in the quality of life over the past century has taken a lot of drive out of the population as a whole. And technology has made it harder for us to find a source of long, hard dopamine. We have been spoon-fed short, fast dopamine by social media companies for almost 2 decades now. It has gotten to a point where these fast hits of dopamine are all that young generations know and might ever know. This is a scary thought and certainly doesn't bode well for my theory of finding a meaning in life. From my perspective, living a meaningful life is only possible when you are able to limit the amount of cheap, fast dopamine that you consume. Which brings me to my second step, becoming more vigilant about the time spent on electronics. Obviously, many of us will need to spend hours each day sitting in front of the screen for either school or work, and there's no feasible way to change that. However, you are capable of putting your screens down after work or school and finding ways to work on yourself, on relationships, on hobbies, on passion projects, on desires, on goals, and anything that drives you. It is through these pursuits that you find more of the puzzle pieces to a life well lived. And for this reason, I've made the effort over the last few years to track my screen time on my phone. I put the widget right on the front page of my home screen on my phone. It takes up half my screen and forces me to be aware of how much I'm using my phone. Now that we've talked a little bit about what we're looking for an easy way to stay on track, let's talk about how to learn more about yourself and how to start stacking these puzzle pieces up and start filling the color into the ones that we've already collected. The final step, and pretty much the underlying theme of the video this far, is doing hard things. I've been training to run my first marathon for the past month. I've never even run a half marathon in a race before, and I decided I should jump right into the full thing. I've learned so much about myself throughout the training for this race that I might have never realized if I hadn't signed up. While I'm training in the mornings, running 3 to 10 miles before work each day, I've come to realize many things about myself. The first of which is that I'm very competitive. I always track my runs to make sure I'm getting enough miles throughout the week to feel confident in my ability to complete the race. However, as a side effect, I find myself subconsciously trying to speed up the runs each day to beat my pace from the day before. Worried as if not speeding up day after day means I'm not going to sufficiently progress towards my goal. Another thing that I've come to realize is that I'm much more capable than I ever knew I was. I've been overly self-critical for most of my life, and this has bled into the training for the marathon. When I started training, I always doubted what I'm capable of and how far I can go, not just in running, but in other areas too. But as I've started doing harder things, I've begun to follow what Alex Hormozi describes as building undeniable evidence that I am the person that I say I am. Doing hard things is what helps you build that confidence and evidence to prove to yourself that you are who you say you are. And at the end of my life, this is what I want to know: that I pushed myself, and that I trusted myself, and that I became who I believed I could be. Doing hard things will not solve your whole life overnight, but they will show you what you're made of. They will give you proof that you can trust yourself, and maybe, piece by piece, they will help you build a life that you're proud to look back on. To me, that is a life well lived.